Atlanta continues to own the offensive glass here in the fourth quarter. Great board.
You failed. Loser! I don't even play basketball and I would have made that shot.
With just 35% from three after a couple years in the 40s. Howard misses that one.
Ryan Howard or Alicia Gray, I think Ryan Howard, airballs a shot to win the game late. It lands in Angel Reese's lap, and collectively the whole world said, yeah, she ain't making that. Collectively, the whole world said, oh, Angel Reese has it? Oh, and it's a layup? Yeah, she's breaking that. And lo and behold, point blank range to win the game, we get a classic Angel Reese pray-up.
Angel Reese had every opportunity to become the star of this game. Instead, she wound up becoming the story everyone was laughing about. And that is not an overstatement. That is exactly what played out on the court between the Indiana Fever and the Atlanta Dream. By the time the final buzzer went off, Reese was not celebrating a victory.
Clark laughing at Angel Reese after she missed a wide-open layup for the win.
Quarter. Great board, just could not convert it.
Was pushed under the hoop just enough to not have a great angle to OT.
She was standing underneath the basket with both hands on her head as Caitlin Clark walked right past her, smiling after another statement win. If you want to understand why this rivalry simply refuses to die down, this game gives you the complete picture in 95 minutes of basketball. And it had so many unexpected moments that even casual WNBA viewers were talking about it the following morning.
Angel Reese, you had me laughing at you, girl. I told you, Angel Reese is a pure bum, the worst kind. Angel Reese is the type to steal the trash off your curb and try to see if she can go put it in her refrigerator. The girl can't make a layup to save her life. She missed like 7 layups in the first quarter. Meanwhile, me, the GOAT, Caitlin Clark, I'm putting on shows every single night. 26 points, 9 assists. Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever humiliate Angel Reese. Or maybe Angel Reese just humiliated herself.
Now let's go back to the moment when things started getting physical, because this was not some heated exchange between two players who were already going at each other. It began with Reese getting beaten on defense, plain and simple. In the middle of the first quarter, Clark pulled up from long range off the dribble with Reese right on top of her, staying as close as possible on the contest. And somehow, the shot still dropped perfectly through the net.
Because she was crap in this game. A bag of crap. She was awful. Angel Reese was terrible. Speaking of terrible, Angel Reese never beating the allegations. This was to open the game.
With Reese leaking out, finds her.
Lee Sheet. That was awful. Wow, that was awful. One more good time. It did a... Yeah. Yikes. Holy moly. Holy.
That is the type of play that can quietly get into a defender's head, even when nobody watching notices it right away. You play solid defense. You get into position. You contest the shot properly. And somehow the ball still finds the bottom of the net. For a competitor like Reese, who takes pride in playing physical and making life difficult for opponents, that has to hurt a little.
Caitlin Clark laughing at Angel Reese for missing the game-winning layup. Helen Keller could have made the layup. It was the fucking second layup that she missed. She missed a wide open drive in the first quarter, and then she misses the game-winning layup. And then, of course, we have the halftime crew just glazing Angel Reese, making it seem like she's a better player than Kelsey Mitchell, making it seem like she's a better player than Caitlin Clark. And Angel Reese with the total brick of a three-pointer. No wonder why they left her wide open, misses the layup, and look of disappointment on both her coach and teammates' face when she missed the game-winning layup. At least Angel was honest at halftime with Holly. I was a little bit impressed by that, where she was like, hey, I am playing like shit right now. I really got to step it up. I will say she is good on defense. She's always good on defense. She's a rebound machine, but she shouldn't shoot the ball so much. This photo just like needs...
A few possessions later, Ryan Howard's shot went up and missed, sending both Reese and Clark scrambling underneath the basket for the rebound. That is when Reese, rather than simply using her body to establish position like you normally would in a rebounding battle, drove her forearm directly into Clark's neck to keep her away from the ball. This was not a simple bump or unavoidable contact between two players crashing for the same rebound. It was a noticeable shove to the neck. The kind of contact that would normally draw an immediate whistle in almost any other physical situation. And this was not buried inside a crowd or happening somewhere officials could argue they had a bad view. It happened right in front of two referees positioned in the paint, clearly visible under the arena lights, while cameras from several angles captured the entire sequence.
40s. Howard misses that one, out of bounds, and it will be Indiana basketball. 4:10 to go in the first, and the Fever lead by 2.
So let's go to Angel Reese clocking Caitlin Clark right in the throat hole.
With just 35.
Right here, you're going to watch. There she gets her in the neck, and there she gets her in the throat. Yeah. What are we doing? Neck, throat.
Clark immediately looked toward the officials with her arms spread, practically asking them to make the call. Anyone watching from home could see exactly what happened. She took contact to the neck while battling for the basketball, which is about as obvious a foul as you can get at any level of the game. Yet the referees simply let it go. No whistle, no review, nothing. Reese escaped without a call, and she seemed to know it too, because she never even looked back to see whether the officials were going to respond. She simply turned around and continued playing as if nothing had happened, jogging back up the court with the same expression she might have had after grabbing an ordinary defensive rebound.
Look at how she hit Caitlin in the neck. Look, watch it. First time, look, second time. Bro, like, what are we doing? And then the refs act like they didn't see it. Like, bro,
The reaction online was instant, and it was anything but friendly toward Reese. Videos of the shove started flooding social media within minutes, pulling in hundreds of thousands of views before halftime even arrived. Fans who usually try to remain neutral in this rivalry, the people who say they simply want to watch basketball without choosing a side, were struggling to defend what they had just seen. One fan summed it up bluntly, saying Reese is not really a rebounder when she has to rely on proper technique and positioning. Instead, the criticism was that she grabs and pushes whenever the ball does not fall her way. Another fan highlighted something that made the sequence look even worse, pointing out that only minutes earlier, Clark had knocked down a shot directly over Reese's tightest contest. So the shove appeared less like an accidental hustle play and more like frustration boiling over right in front of everyone. Whatever Reese's actual intention was, the same pattern fans have come to expect in this matchup seemed to show itself once again. Physical, aggressive, and pushing the limits of what can be considered clean basketball.
Oh, Caitlin Clark is ridiculous, man, and in my opinion, she's the MVP right now. I mean, this performance by her was just insane, and look at this three right away in Angel Reese's face.
The switch on Reese will fire. Hey!
It's really obvious that these two do not.
But here's the problem with that kind of gamesmanship. It only matters if it actually helps you win. And on this night, it did absolutely nothing for Reese. She spent much of the rest of the first half unable to find any offensive rhythm, missing one paint shot after another that she normally finishes with little trouble. When her shooting night finally settled in, she had started 0-4-6 and eventually finished just 5-4-16 from the field. That was a seriously difficult shooting performance for someone whose reputation has been built around efficiency and physical play near the basket. To her credit, she continued battling on the glass and finished with 14 rebounds and 6 assists. So it was not like she completely vanished from the stat sheet. But the physical intensity behind that neck shove clearly was not turning into made baskets. And Clark, seemingly unfazed by everything happening around her, simply kept doing what she came to do.
On a fast break. She sucks from 3. Boom! Whoa! Angel Reese on a layup. Can't score it. She stinks. Look at all these layups missed. The girl is awful. The girl is garbage. Here she comes. I'm going full court. Hey, boom! Get that out of here. She sucks. Here comes Angel Reese coming down the lane again. Uh-oh, spinning and missing another layup. Here we go. Game on the line. Uh-oh, I can win it. Smoke the layup. Then Nas Hillman follows up and smokes the layup. I mean, you starting to rub off on the other people on the route.
By the fourth quarter, this game had become an absolute fight down the stretch. Alisha Gray was putting together a huge night for Atlanta, eventually finishing with a career-high 32 points. And the Dream kept fighting their way back every time Indiana looked ready to create some separation. With the score tied at 81 and the clock rapidly winding down, Ryan Howard launched a three that bounced off the front rim. Reese battled for the rebound with Aaliyah Boston practically hanging all over her as they fought underneath. Somehow, Reese managed to pull down the offensive rebound through heavy traffic. This was her moment. This was exactly the type of physical play she had been trying to create all night. All she had to do was finish the job.
5 seconds. Howard launches. Missed it badly. Reese the putback. Won't go. Hillman. No. And we have.
But she could not finish it. With Boston all over her and almost no room to operate, Reese threw up a putback attempt that never even reached the front rim, coming up short with just 3 seconds remaining. The ball popped loose again, and Naz Hillman desperately scrambled to keep the possession alive with another layup attempt, only for Boston to reach back and block that shot too. 2 opportunities right at the basket, with Atlanta having a huge chance to send Indiana home with a loss, and neither one found the net. Reese had fought physically all night to create those kinds of opportunities, but when the moment actually arrived, when the game was right there to be taken with the clock nearly at 0, she could not finish the play in front of her.
Did y'all see that game? That was the greatest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Oh, and it couldn't have happened to a nicer individual. Angel Reese, probably the most despised person in the history of all sports, couldn't get a layup in. She tried the first time, couldn't get it. She tried the second time, couldn't get it. Even her teammates was like, come on, man. Meanwhile, mother freaking King Clark was laughing at her. She was like, the camera caught it.
And this is the moment from the night that completely exploded across social media. Reese was standing underneath the basket in obvious disbelief, with teammates around her trying to comfort her after that missed opportunity. Then the broadcast showed Clark heading back toward the Fever bench. She was smiling, not just giving a quick polite smile either, but actually laughing, clearly entertained by the sequence that had just played out right in front of her. Maybe it was simply the relief of surviving such a tense and physical stretch of basketball. But here is where things could have gone completely wrong for Indiana, because the game was nowhere near finished. Regulation ended with the score tied, sending the matchup into overtime with both teams looking exhausted and relying almost entirely on emotion and adrenaline.
Free throws here for Ryan Howard is going to resuscitate this game for Atlanta, but Indiana will immediately challenge it. Let's see. Oh, I don't see anything.
With roughly 10 seconds remaining in overtime and Indiana holding on to a narrow lead, the officials called a foul on Clark that put Ryan Howard at the free throw line for 3 shots. Indiana immediately challenged the decision, and even the broadcast team openly said they expected the call to be overturned after the replay. It looked questionable. It looked like exactly the kind of call that gets changed after a closer look in a situation like this. But instead, the officials reviewed the play at the monitor and still decided to uphold the foul. Howard calmly knocked down all 3 free throws, cutting what had been a comfortable Fever advantage to just 2 points almost instantly. For a brief moment, it looked like Atlanta had suddenly been given a way back into a game they had already had 2 wide-open chances to win in regulation only minutes earlier.
Oh, baby! Yeah! I told y'all Caitlin Clark was gonna put on a show versus Angel Reese and show why she's the real MVP, not no me bounds, falling everywhere, missing layups everywhere. Angel Reese, your palms were sweaty, knees weak, arms was heavy, was vomit on your jersey already, mom's spaghetti, you're nervous! You look like...
Atlanta had no choice but to foul right away to stop the clock and keep the game alive. And that foul was committed against Clark. She walked to the line with 9.8 seconds left and calmly buried both free throws, stretching Indiana's lead back to 4 at 95-91. Atlanta had one final possession to attempt something desperate, but the damage had already been done. Earlier in overtime, the officials had upheld a questionable foul call against Clark that briefly gave the Dream an opening to steal the game. Almost every break that could have hurt Indiana seemed to happen during that stretch, yet Clark and the Fever still managed to finish the job when it mattered. And that is what really stands out as this rivalry continues week after week. It was not simply that Clark produced the better numbers, with 26 points and 9 assists compared with Reese's difficult shooting night. Indiana had to deal with questionable whistles, a controversial foul, and a real opportunity for Atlanta to steal the game late, and they still left the arena with the victory they came for.
Wide open layup on a fast break is by far one of the most embarrassing things you can do in the sport of basketball. Whether you're in elementary school, middle school, high school, college, professional, WNBA, NBA, it doesn't matter. It's just a terrible look regardless. And then missing a game-winning layup as a big, I'm sorry, you just can't defend some of these things. And I always have Angel Reese's back, but we gotta do better. Yeah, she finished the game with 15 points, 14 boards, and 6 assists. That's an amazing game. But then you look at her splits, she shot 31% from the field. She shot 5 for 16 from the field. As a big...
There is also a much bigger story underneath all this drama that cannot be ignored. Both teams are seriously fighting for playoff position, which means these head-to-head games matter for much more than bragging rights. Atlanta entered this matchup looking to close the gap in the standings, and a win could have made a real difference in their position heading into the final stretch. Instead, they walked away after wasting a huge late-game opportunity, while Indiana continued its strong run with another important victory. And when you factor in just how physical these matchups have become every time these teams meet, it becomes easier to understand why this game felt much more significant than an ordinary regular season matchup.
Shoots it, airballs it, right into Angel Reese's lap. And you know what everybody said? Collectively, ain't no fucking way. Ain't no fucking... Bricked it. Point blank, with a chance to win the game, bricks it. This is something we see from Angel Reese every single game. Brick City. Earlier in the game, we saw Angel Reese matched up against Caitlin Clark on a screen. Caitlin Clark sees Angel Reese. Oh, this is easy. Step back. Hold up. Easy money.
For Reese, this loss hurts for reasons that go beyond a rough shooting line. She had the exact opportunity she wanted. An offensive rebound in a tied game with only seconds left. That is the type of moment that can become part of a rivalry's history. Instead of being remembered as the player who used her physicality to create the opening and then finished it with a game-winning basket, she became the player who battled her way into position but could not deliver when the biggest moment arrived. Clark, meanwhile, took contact to the neck earlier in the game without getting the whistle. In a rivalry that has been surrounded by physical play and controversy almost from the beginning, this was the night when all that noise ultimately mattered less than what happened around the rim in the final moments. And Reese came up short when it counted most.